Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a historical investigation that is absolutely wild. What if I told you that the most powerful alliance in human history wasn't brought down by invading armies, conventional warfare, or some massive global conflict? What if instead it collapsed completely and utterly from the inside out? We're looking at the historical blueprint of a shadow organization known simply as the Alliance. This was an empire built by kings, generals, and billionaires. For centuries, literally nobody dared to challenge them. That is, until a single, tiny crack in their system brought the whole structure crashing down.
Our historical dossier today is broken down into 5 phases: the unseen rulers, anatomy of a leak, weaponizing paranoia, the midnight blackout, and finally, echoes in the shadows. Let's jump right in.
Starting off with Phase 1, the unseen rulers and their power in the shadows.
To really grasp how monumental their collapse was, we have to understand the paradigm they set up. You've basically got 2 worlds. On one side, there's the official reality. This is the stuff we all see, right? Governments, sitting presidents, kings, open economic markets. But then, behind the curtain, was the unofficial reality. The Alliance controlled everything from the shadows. When they decided a war was too costly, it ended. Global economies would rise and fall based strictly on their quiet, behind-closed-doors decisions. If a world leader pushed back against them, that leader simply disappeared. Their true currency wasn't even money. It was fear, immense hidden wealth, and absolute secrecy. Nobody knew the full member list, and nobody ever knew where they met.
And because of that intense, ironclad secrecy, they basically existed as a myth. For decades, you'd hear rumors about hidden meetings beneath ancient cities, or people pointing to supposed coded messages buried inside standard government broadcasts. Whispers of black projects deep underground. But here's the irony. The general public just laughed off these ideas as crazy tinfoil hat theories. And that collective disbelief, that was the Alliance's perfect insulation. It protected them. Well, right up until a former operative vanished and cracked their armor wide open, leaving behind one highly classified file.
Which brings us to Phase 2, Anatomy of a Leak, the very first breach.
11 minutes. I want you to think about that for a second. 11 minutes was exactly how long this vanished operative's leaked file stayed online before it was frantically scrubbed from the internet. Just 11 minutes. But as we all know, in the digital age, 11 minutes is a lifetime. It was more than enough time for the data to be downloaded, copied, and spread like wildfire. That tiny, incredibly brief window of time was literally enough to alter the course of history.
So, what was actually in this file? It was the whole shebang. A completely devastating blueprint of their operations. Archival records show it contained the concrete names of high-ranking identities, it had maps of secret locations, ledgers of hidden bank transfers, and honestly, the most damaging piece of all, the exact structural hierarchy of the Alliance. It wasn't just raw data. This was the structural wiring of a hidden empire being forcefully dragged into the light for everyone to see.
But here's the real genius of this leak. It didn't try to destroy them directly with warrants or weapons. Instead, it targeted their singular, fatal structural weakness: trust, the firm belief in the reliability or truth of someone. You see, the Alliance had survived for centuries solely because its members trusted each other completely. It was the absolute glue holding this massive shadow empire together. If you destroy that trust, the entire system falls apart. And that is exactly what a mysterious figure known only as Orion figured out.
Moving right along to Phase 3, weaponizing paranoia and Orion's tactics.
Now, initially, the Alliance just ignored Orion. They thought it was a flash in the pan. That was a huge mistake. Within weeks, Orion began executing this terrifying tactical methodology. He didn't use assassins. He methodically weaponized paranoia. Step 1, distribute fake messages to create some initial doubt. Step 2, release actual leaked recordings to prove to everyone that the doubt was entirely justified. Step 3, plant secret accusations of corruption, betrayals, and backroom deals between top members. Orion essentially created this toxic environment where nobody knew what was real and what was a setup.
And there's a profound truth to this whole historical event, one that honestly applies to modern organizations today. Strong organizations rarely collapse because of outside enemies. They collapse because people inside stop trusting each other. By replacing that baseline trust with total confusion, Orion masterfully divided them. You had one Alliance faction suddenly believing another faction was planning a hostile takeover. Other members became convinced someone inside was actively selling them out to world governments, and then the disappearances started. High-ranking members just vanished overnight. Some fled in terror, others started publicly turning on each other. The Alliance had spent centuries controlling the world through manipulation, and now that exact same manipulation was tearing them apart from the inside.
And that brings us to the boiling point. Phase 4, the midnight blackout, systemic failure.
Let's walk through the historical timeline of the blackout, because it is a terrifyingly rapid cascade of global infrastructure failures. At exactly 12 a.m., power grids just fail simultaneously across major cities. 5 minutes later at 12:05, global communications vanish, completely gone. By 12:15, the world's financial systems freeze up entirely. And then, the ultimate killing blow. At 12:30 a.m., hidden servers connected directly to the Alliance were forcefully exposed online. Millions of classified files flooded the internet in real time. The general public was left watching in absolute shock as the unofficial reality violently bled into the official reality.
Officially, governments denied everything. News channels were rushing to blame the blackout on state-sponsored cyber terrorism. But inside the Alliance, it was pure, unadulterated chaos. Members were actively pointing fingers, accusing each other of engineering the betrayal. You had these desperate, chaotic attempts to escape the collapse, while at the exact same time, other factions were engaging in violent internal struggles just to seize whatever scraps of control were left. But it was way too late. The Alliance wasn't destroyed by rival armies. It successfully and brutally destroyed itself.
Finally, Phase 5, Echoes in the Shadows, the unsolved case.
3 days after the blackout paralyzed the globe, Orion released one last message. No face was shown, no identifiable voice. It was just this highly distorted audio delivering a single haunting sentence. The strongest empires fall when fear replaces loyalty. And after dropping that, Orion vanished entirely. Poof, gone. Nobody ever found him.
Even to this day, investigators and modern historians fiercely debate the true identity of the architect who brought down the system. The theories are all over the place. Was Orion a former Alliance insider who just cleverly weaponized that 11-minute leaked data? Or was Orion a completely fabricated persona, a ghost that never actually existed, maybe a collective of whistleblowers working together? We may never know, but whoever or whatever Orion was, their actions proved a timeless rule. No empire lasts forever when manipulated from within.
After the blackout, the Alliance was never seen again. Well, at least officially. But the historical records leave us with one final, truly terrifying question to ponder. Is the Alliance actually destroyed, or are they still out there right now watching, waiting, and quietly rebuilding in secret? Just think about the implications of that for a second. If an organization this powerful existed and then simply fell into the shadows, did they truly disappear? Remember what we've uncovered today. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies aren't the ones storming the gates. They're the ones already inside the walls. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this investigation gave you a powerful new perspective on how history's most secretive structures operate and just how easily they can fall. Catch you next time.